Hey everyone, this will be a slightly different video as I'm going to be giving you a look at the entire Dragonite line, which I finally got around to building. I actually designed all three of these a while back, but only recently took the time to source the last parts I needed to make my Dratini MOC, which was the last of the three that needed to be built. I will say that the overall designs haven't changed much since when I first posted them on my Instagram, except for Dratini, which needed to be redesigned a bit so that it didn't use as many expensive parts. But I'll get into more detail on the designs of each of the stages throughout this video. So we'll take a closer look at Dratini first, and I had to rework the body from its original design, where I made the entire build a bit simpler by removing one of its sections, while also making some of the connections stronger, but its overall length is pretty much the same as before. Dratini is also the simplest out of the three, which makes sense since it's also the smallest, and I chose to use the medium blue in LEGO here, which I thought was the best match and had enough parts to capture its look as best as I could. Each of its body sections are attached with clip and bar pieces, and the head is attached with a pneumatic T-bar piece, so you can bend and rotate each of the sections with a pretty wide range of motion. The head is pretty small, but I try to jam-pack it with all of its distinct features, like its ear or fins on the sides, which are done using the minifig diver fin accessory piece, its rounded mouth design, and the eyes, which use the brickhead style printed eyepiece to give it some pupils. I also tried to keep the white stripe underneath consistent throughout its body, which continues all the way to its tail. Now taking a closer look at Dragonair. Like Dratini, the head is attached with the pneumatic T-bar piece, and there's a lot of posability and articulation at the neck joint. You can rotate the entire head left and right, and bend it up and down as well. The head is built with studs on the side construction, and the eyes are done using the same printed brickhead style eyepiece, since I thought they were a close match to the official design. You'll notice later that in my Dragonite MOC that it also uses the same eyepiece, just to keep the look consistent. However, in my other MOCs, I do try and brick build eyes whenever I can, instead of using printed parts. The wings on its head are done using the minifig scaled bird or angel-like wings, which was a close approximation at the time when I designed this, but I think the newer style of wings that LEGO introduced in the winged Koopas in the LEGO Mario sets is probably a closer match, but they're not that common, so it could be a bit more expensive. The main body is built in several smaller sections, and each section is connected with mixo-style ball joint and socket pieces, but the range of motion is a bit limited at certain points since I tried to cover some of the gaps. But you can have it posed curled in, or even straight out like this, or in a serpentine fashion as well. Most of the sections are built using brackets instead of snot bricks, since I wanted to build on all four sides so that the blue and white color blocking was consistent, just like Dratini. Finally, for my Dragonite MOC, it was actually the first out of the three that I designed and built, and it's probably still one of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon and pseudo-legendaries to this day. I'm personally a big fan of its shiny version as well, but I'm not sure if it's buildable yet in LEGO, but I may see in the future if it's possible, however no guarantees. The main colors used here are the bright orange or flame yellowish orange and tan for its body, and I used the dark teal or turquoise color for the undersides of the wings, which I thought were the closest match. I will say that the dark teal or turquoise colors used for the wings are probably one of the more expensive pieces in this build compared to the others, so I may want to shop around for them or see if they're available on the LEGO Pick-a-Brick site at some point. First, taking a look at the legs. They're built in two sections and are connected with mixo-style ball joint and socket pieces. So it's a lot of articulation and posability. You can splay the legs in and out slightly, but you can bend it forward and back pretty far. I decided not to add any knee articulation since they appeared to be hind legs in the official design, so I just added articulation at the ankles, which have a similar range of motion and can be bent forward and back and slightly side to side. And all this just helps it to get into a stable posture or stance fairly easily so that you can balance it on just its legs. For the body, I focused a lot on capturing its unique shaping during the design, since it's pretty rotund as a dragon, and it isn't too menacing or threatening in terms of its looks when compared to other pseudos or dragon types that Pokemon released. I tried to add as much bulk as I could for the sides and back, which uses different slope, curve slope, wedges, and tile pieces. Its front and belly also has a scaly appearance to it, and I wanted to use these double curve slopes in tan since I thought it would best resemble its design. They're all attached with studs on the side construction, and I offset these double slopes by a plate just to add more curvature at the front and to give it more bulk and volume as you move down to its belly. The underbelly is finished off with two of these quarter round dome pieces in tan, which are attached upside down. Coming around to the back, it's also covered off with wedges and slopes, again to add some bulk at the lower half while it tapers to the neck. The wings are connected with mixo style ball joints, so you can change the angle and position of them if you wanted to. And the overall size is a bit small when compared to the overall size of the body. I used regular and wedge plates for the shaping and tried to offset the dark turquoise or teal color underneath so that you can see the bright orange outline when facing it from the front. The tail is built in two sections, with each being connected using mixed style ball joints, and at the base of the tail you can bend the entire tail subassembly left to right and up and down slightly, as well as rotate it. And you can only bend the other section up and down since the wedge pieces on the side restrict its movement, but they also help to cover up some of the gaps. Looking at the arms, they're both pretty simple here, but I was able to add articulation in the shoulder and elbow joints. I decided not to add any wrist or finger articulation since they look to be fairly short, and adding additional joints would have just made the entire arm a bit too long and introduced too many gaps. You are able to rotate the entire arm at the shoulder joint up and down and tilt it left and right, forward and back like so. And there's a similar range of motion at the elbows as well. The fingers or claws are suggested here with these 1x1 double slope pieces in white, and are covered off with these half round modified plate pieces just to give the suggestion of its hand design. I wouldn't say it's the best technique that could be used here, since the fingers would ideally be facing forward or angled at least, but you can sort of use your imagination here. Lastly, for the head, it's also attached with the mixo style ball joint piece, so you can rotate the entire head left and right, tilt the slat to side slightly, and bend it up and down with a very wide range of motion, so you can get to a lot of different poses here. The eyes and cheeks are built up from the sides, and I tried to add as much weight as I could just to make the face a bit chubbier. The antennae were probably one of the trickiest parts to translate into LEGO, since there weren't a lot of pieces I knew of that could best capture its look. I had to scroll through the LEGO part catalog for all of the tan pieces and stumbled upon these elephant trunk or animal tail pieces in tan, which may be a bit too thick. However, they were the closest match that I could find to best capture its long, flowy, and tendril-like appearance. With the way it's connected, you can pose each of the antennae, but I just like to keep them at this angle here. This piece and the clip and bar insert piece in tan that it's connected to are both fairly uncommon, so I would suggest paying attention to their prices when you're sourcing the parts. Finally, for those of you wondering, this is how it looks with all three scaled up to a random minifigure. And the total part count for Dratini, Dragonair, and Dragonite are 55, 213, and 404 pieces respectively. At the time of the recording of this video, Dratini can cost around $10 to $15 Canadian, Dragonair at $30 to $35 Canadian, and Dragonite at $55 to $65 Canadian. Please keep in mind this does not include shipping or handling, and your final cost may vary. For those of you who stayed this long, I've just released the instructions for all three together as a bundle with the parts file on my store, as well as individually if you're only interested in building a specific one. All the proceeds to the instructions and my parts file just help to support this channel, as well as future MOCs and builds, and I've been appreciative of all the support you guys have been giving me so far. So that's pretty much it. Comment down below what you guys think of these MOCs, and what else you want to see me cover next. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching.